Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I make these really pretty avian journaling cards, or you can collage on the back, or you can make them plain to where you can write on them. But they're really beautiful, and I think that they will stand out in many journals. You can customize the background paper that you use. You can customize this. If you don't like birds, you can do butterflies, insects, cats, dogs, whatever you have around that you can easily get your hands on. And I'm going to show you the materials that I use to make this, and then we're going to get started. For mine, I chose birds because I seem to run across this Birds and Blooms magazine quite often when I'm out at yard sales or whatever, and they have really pretty images in them. Like, you can use these flowers for backgrounds. That would make a pretty journaling card. But they generally have like these gorgeous photos of birds. I hope you guys can see that. I'm trying to isolate a really pretty bird, because I will be going through these and making a bunch of them. So like that. Look at that pretty hummingbird that you can isolate and cut around. Then like this beautiful one. And when I cut mine, I like to isolate some of the, like, at least the branches and stuff that they sit on. And I'll show you why in a second, because it really kind of gives it like a three-dimensional type look once you actually put them. But anyway, we're going to be using this magazine because it has like some really pretty bird images, and usually you can pick those up at yard sales for a little or nothing. And then also we're going to be using some chipboard, like random size chipboards. I haven't made this size yet, so I'll be making some of these with you on camera. And then in a previous video, I told you guys about the stamp boards, the boards that I get from my job. And when we order stamps, we get these really nice thick pieces of chipboard. So we'll be using some of that. That's a good way to recycle some materials. If you have like old gift boxes, old cereal boxes, that's basically the same type of material, so you can easily use some of that. Since both sides are going to be covered, you can easily utilize like cereal boxes or gift boxes or something, even shoe boxes or something like that. And also I'm going to be using this wonderful paper that I got from Temu. I absolutely love it. There's a bunch of different papers in there that are kind of neutral. And then also, before the video, I went through one of my old magazines, not the one I just showed you, and isolated some pictures that I want to cut out in detail to make some of these. And look at those gorgeous images. And basically all I did was glue them to regular, you can do it to copy paper, you can do it to cardstock, book page. They'd be really cute in book page if you have a lot of old book pages that you need to use up. You can use that, and you don't even have to add them to the chipboard like I did. You can just cut them out, like if you have glued them on a book page or some coffee dye paper, and just use them as a cute little journaling card, or tuck it in somewhere as ephemera. But anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna show you guys how I do this one. So I'm gonna do these four, try to do these four with you on camera, and I already pre-cut out some, so I'll just show you how easy, once you get started, how easy it is to just kind of put them together. Alright, so the first thing, oh, and also you're gonna need some glue, your ink, you're gonna be inking. And also I pulled out some little stamps, some ones that I don't really have to pull out like a stamping block or anything, to make it easy. And of course some ink and scissors. And then that's it. Alright, let's get started. First I'm going to go ahead and isolate these out. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut through the rest of these off camera, and I'll come back when those are done. Okay, now that that part has been done, it's a little tedious, but it does give good results if you fussy cut as much as possible, you know, to give like the little details around, like the little flower petals. You know, that's me. You easily could have just, if you wanted, you could have cut those off. You know, if you want to go even more into detail, like if you have an X-Acto knife, you could go between his legs or her legs and cut the cut all of that off. Or you can just, you know, however you want to do this, how far into detail in your fussy cutting you want to go is up to you. So this one, and since this one's kind of dull, I think I'm going to put him on some really bright paper. And of course, as I was saying earlier, it doesn't always have to be birds. It can be whatever. And when I look at this little pal, that song, a lot of you might know it. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is not the same, or something like that. It was like something that they used to play on like in elementary school, or what, Sesame Street or something like that. But anyway, now that we got this part out of the way, this is the hardest part right here, is like fussy cutting your images out. Now we're going to move on to preparing our chipboards and to like receive our bird images. Now, as I said, you can choose to do whatever you want as far as the design on the front and the back. And what I love about this project is that you don't have to have any specific size. You can cut whatever size, you know, to fit your image. You can fit it big or large if you wanted to have, like, say for instance, a smaller image on a larger backdrop. It's totally up to you. This is your project, but for those who are interested in the sizes that I'm going to be using today, my measurements for these square ones is 4 3/4, basically 4 3/4, maybe a little over, by 5 1/4. And the chipboard that I'm using, for me, this one was already pre-cut, and this is 7.5 by 4.5. 7.5 by 4.5. And this is the majority that size that I use, is 7.5 by 4.5. These I bought a lot from thrift store, and this just happened to be in it. And so since I was making this video today, I was like, why not? Let's get a different size. It's always nice to have already pre-made projects on hand. So then I'm just going to take my paper to decide which paper I want to actually use with mine. I'm going to do 2 of these today and 2 of these, and we'll set that other aside since I only have 4 that I fussy cut out for you, and I already have some set aside to be done. So we're going to choose some colors that'll go well with these. So I'm just gonna, I'm looking now for something that'll go with my butterfly. That's nice, but I really don't like that purple in there, and if I cut it in half, it's not enough. So let's see. How about a butterfly with some butterflies? How does that look? Let's see what else we have in here. And you don't have to be truly fussy about, you know, because it'll look good as long as it's like not like hot colors with warm colors, or cold colors with hot color, you know what I mean. Anyway, but something like this totally wouldn't go, because that whole color scheme is so completely different. You want to try to coordinate it a little bit. So I think I'm going to use this one for that. And now let's see. Let's find something for this guy. Actually, I think I kind of like that one on that, but I want him to pop since he's dark. So let's see, let's find something. And I think he's going to go on one of our smaller cards. Yeah, he's going to go on a smaller card. So let's put him, let's see, what is this? Oh, I kind of like him with that. Okay, so we'll put him with that. And then let's see. This guy, I really did want him to be on something that really will make him stand out. So it's going to have to be like a light color for him. Ooh, I'm going through this paper very fast, and that's great. I got this paper from Temu, and it's awesome because I want to be able to use the paper. That way I can have an excuse to buy more stuff. You know, honestly, after I've cut this guy out, I'm not really feeling like, I really don't. You know what? I think it's this part that I don't like. So let me cut that out. Because that's not vibrant. It's just not, it's not giving anything to this little bird at all. It's just making him or her very, very drab. And I don't want that. So we're just going to remedy that. And it's so hard to see because it was like the same color as the bird itself. And when you get to like these little bitty points in here, and you don't know if your scissors have gotten, I always take my tweezers and kind of just go up in there and pull that last little bit off. That way you're not going in there. And this doesn't, that looks kind of ragged to me. So we're going to just trim that down just a little bit. Okay. And if you don't like an image, alter it. Now that's much better without that extra piece on there. Now it looks very, very pretty on something. Okay. And do I like it with this, or do I want to give it? Ooh, I think that's pretty. I think we'll use this purple with it. And then it looks like most of the ones that I have here are going to be the ones that go on my small pieces of paper. So I'll do these, and I will go ahead and show you how I covered one of these. Anyway, no, I don't have to. It'll be the same thing as with this one. All right, now let's find a pretty. Oh, I think that looks good on that one. Okay. So what we're gonna do, let me get this out of here. Everything from here is just gonna be very, very standard. And since we're gonna be working with the smaller board, we'll push this bigger board out the way for right now. And since you're not gonna need the whole piece, you're gonna kind of decide which side you want your, I always have my birds facing, like lined up opposite of the way that they're facing. So he's facing to the right, so I put him on the left. He was facing to the left, so I put him on the right. So let's see, which side do I think of the paper? I think that looks really great, like that. I mean, either way is pretty. So it would be that behind him, like that. Which I kind of like that. Or, this is a hard part too, deciding where you want your image to sit. I mean, they're both great. what do we do? What do we do? Okay, I think I like, and then I think I like this better because then since that's got like the butterfly and the stamp and all of that on it, I can then use that for another project. Okay, so we're gonna go like that. So basically what I'm gonna do, you can choose to put these papers on first, or you can choose to put like your coffee dye paper. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and I'm gonna do one with the book page. I'm gonna do one with like a neutral, and then I'm gonna do two with coffee dye paper. And I think I can fit two on one. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, two on one. So let's go ahead and get those glued down. Now you choose, I mean, it doesn't really matter what side goes to what at this point because it's basically just a blank side. So now what you do, once you've picked out your colors that you want your birds to wear, then you have to make sure that you keep those together because you don't want to, have to go through that process again. So to make sure that I get the right, I'm not going to put my glue on here, I'm going to put my glue on here and then just lay that down kind of where I want it. If you find it easier to flip it over this way, you can certainly do that as well. Just make sure you're lined up. That's one great thing about working with straight edges. You can just line it up very easily. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that so we can set this guy aside. Now that leaves me two pretty scraps to do something else with later on. Alright, so I'm going to do that to all of them and then I'll be back. Alright, now that we're back and we've got everything cut out and people placed where they need to be, and we decided which colors for each page and also where we want them to be. Now one thing I will show you, like say for instance, when you're using book page, make sure it looks like you want it to look in the back. I'm not really too happy about that, so later on I'm gonna come back and take one of those pieces of scrap and place it there, and I'll probably place a little piece over here just to kind of make it look nicer, but that's completely up to you. Alright, so the next step after we've covered both sides with whatever we're going to cover it with, then we're just going to go back and do a little light inking. And today I'm going to be using this to ink my papers. I lost my my wooden dauber with like the handle, but you know what? I've got a huge collection of old thread. You know, beautiful old thread on the wooden spools, and this one is perfect for my hand. It's got a nice long shaft, so it's easy to work with. So I just glued one of my dauber tops to it, and bam, that's what I do on this channel. I improvise. I said it before, life is a big improvisation if that's the word to use. Actually, I don't need to ink around the dark parts because they're already inked. That's why I leave a little bit of the darkness, the original, around some of them, so I don't have to really do much to that one. But I will be inking around this. And with these being kind of thinner than the other original chipboard I was using, I think I'm going to see what they look like with rounded corners. So actually, before I ink all of that, let's see what this one would look like with a rounded corner. Will that make a difference? Actually, that might look good with that one. So we're just going to go and round that. And this step is completely optional. If you like the square look, the sharp corners, go right ahead. I actually like the sharp corners, but I like the rounded too, so it's all your preference. So then we're just going to go back over that and ink that just a little bit. And because this paper that I'm using is already dark, I don't have to do a lot of inking. So then the next step is basically just going to place our image or whatever we're using. And since I'm using this butterfly, and as I said, I like to place them opposite of the way that they're facing. So this one will be going over here to the left. I think that's very pretty. So let's go ahead and just get some glue to the back of it. If you want, some of mine hang off the edges, but if yours are not going to hang off the edge, then you don't have to worry about inking any of the backing to it. And also, now that I'm looking at this, if you wanted to add like washi tape to the end of these and make these flip outs, like if you backed yours with cardstock, then you could also do a flip out to where you have that as another little journaling spot. But on this video, but that's an idea. I'll keep that in mind for next time. I mean, it's nice to have variety in your projects. You know, you look at something on YouTube and then you get your own burst of ideas on how you can actually make that project work for yourself. At least I know that's how I am. I would watch YouTube videos and be totally inspired, and my projects would end up on a completely different level, or, you know, a different area than what it was presented as. But that's the beauty of it. You take the inspiration and do your own thing. All right. And now that's done. And so what I was doing is I pulled out some of my stamps that I didn't, you know, just random little stamps. And this point is optional as well. You can choose to put a little stamp in the corner if you want. I really do not like how this walnut stain is stamping. It's not doing very well. It did the same thing. Anyway, so you can do that. You can stamp them here. You can add fringe. You can do all kinds of things with this to make it your own. But let's go ahead and finish the other ones, and I'll show you some of the, you know, finish some of the bigger ones with you as well. And let's see, will he hang off any? The tip of his head will hang off, so I'll go ahead and ink that. And that's also a good indication of where you need to start your glue line. so that you don't over glue. Yeah, so that's about right. Okay, and you also could glue him here. This project can go so many ways. So we're gonna get some glue. Make sure I get the proboscis glued so that they don't rip off. This is the second bird that I cut out today that had an insect in its mouth. And this is such a fun little project because when you get to cut out these images, you get to see, you get to see details that you didn't see at first glance. Like on this butterfly, I didn't notice that there was an ant on one of the petals. And I'm pretty sure the photographer, when they took it, didn't realize that either. Alright, so we're just gonna put this little guy where we want it. And make sure everything is nice and glued down and flat. If for some reason you didn't get your original image, you know, completely glued down, now is the time. And I forgot to ink this one. Oh, I hate when I get a little too much glue, but thankfully it dries clear. Okay, so let's go ahead and ink this one. I didn't round the corners on this one, which is totally fine, but I will go back and ink that really quick. Okay, now I'm going to show you one of the larger ones that I cut out before the video began. I did these last night, and I thought this one was really pretty. He's got like a little bit of purple, and this is a painted bunting. He's got a little bit of purple in him, so I thought he would pull out this nice purples back here. So basically what I did, I covered the front. I did not cover the back yet, so I'm going to cover the back with you. I'm going to go ahead and put that on book page like the others. Do that really quick. Putting that right down in the center, so I'll make sure I have as much of the actual book page on as possible. Okay, now that that's cut out, Let's go ahead and get this inked. And there is no particular way you need to ink this. If you want to start at your edge and bring your dauber in, that gives a nice effect on the paper as well. Gives it a little more age detail. So we're going to do the same as we did with the others. I'm not going to ink him, but I'm going to see which parts might hang off that need to be inked. I'm going to start right there, and that also is a glue line indication of how far you need to glue down. So we're going to start right below where that ink is, and we're just going to get this guy inked all up. And I keep saying guys for like the colorful ones because I think most of the birds, I think the males usually are more colorful than the female. I think that helps them in mating, because when they have to attract a female, they have to do all kinds of things. I love to see the Nature Channel when the birds are doing like their fantastic little dances to woo over the females. I think it's hilarious but beautiful at the same time. So we do. Actually, you know what? I placed that on the wrong side. Let me just wipe that glue off really quick. Too busy talking about these birds and their dances. Alright, no harm, no foul. We'll just turn that over and glue it on the side that it's actually supposed to go. I'm glad I caught it before it was completely down. I mean, it wouldn't have hurt either way, because you can also do stuff, you know, with this side, but I just kind of like that as my backdrop. Okay. All right, isn't that cute? So go ahead and add some ink to the front. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the other ones, and then I'll come back when they're all done. Okay guys, now that I'm done, I wanted to come back and show you really quickly the ones that we did today. This one is the one that I was talking about, was a little dull, and so it wasn't really popping, and it still could use a little extra, but what I did was go ahead and took a piece of book page and put it behind it, and it did bring it up a little bit. I'll probably go back and edit, you know, do some extra things to that one. But on the back, this one has tea dye paper, so this will be perfect for like a journaling card. This beautiful one right here, I kind of centered it, this beautiful bird on its sunflower. And on the back, there's also tea dyed paper, good for, you know, journaling, collaging. Here is a beautiful bird on the longer one, the longer chipboard. It's nice and sturdy. This can be used to put like behind your pages if you want a flat surface. You know, if you turn it over and you want a hard flat surface to be able to write on in your journal, you can push that around in your journal and put it in different places. This one also has tea dye paper on the back. Isn't that pretty? And that's why I kind of like to cut out as much of the little background as possible, because it really does give it a really nice effect on, you know, like a nice overlay effect on top of your other designer paper. And then this one, oh, I absolutely love this one. It's so pretty and vibrant. And that's what I liked about the images from that magazine that I showed you guys. It can be birds, it can be cats, dogs, horses, whatever you want to take and make your subject of this project. Is your project. You can do whatever you like with it. This one on the back has book page and a little stamping. And you can take this and you can make it into a collage. You know, you can add like a photograph, you know, stickers, you know, your own little journaling cards that you want to add and make fun. This is a perfect way to do that. Here's another really pretty one. I think that's really gorgeous. I hope you guys are able to see these. Let me just show you that really quick again, just in case you didn't. I'll go back over those really quick. I'm not sure if I was on camera or not, but that's that beautiful one. Hope you guys can see that. That's got book page on the back. This another one, the long way. And this one has tea-dye paper on the back. So beautiful. And then we have two of the smaller ones. Both of them are backed with tea-dyed paper with the beautiful images on there. And then here's a really fun, almost neon bird. This is the painted bunting, and it was on like sort of like a sunflower. I had to cut some of the flower out because it was a huge picture. So I cut it down to fit the board. This one is also backed with a book page. Anytime you're using a book page, make sure you're scanning over the text just to make sure it's not going to, you know, blow somebody's mind in a bad way. So then, and I love this one too, because instead of doing the standard upright, I was able to find a horizontal image that I thought was really pretty. And so this one can be used to like put at the top of a page as a flip out, you know, or flip down. And you can still use it to flip it out, however you want to do that. But I just thought that was really nice. This one had some writing. It was describing the scene. This is, I think, an Oriole, and the baby is waiting to be fed. But I instead wanted to put like a little spot for you to be able to journal. And I didn't like the way the script or the writing was, so I wanted to cover it. So I did with some corresponding paper. And then this one is just got like plain, like a neutral color not cardstock, but photo paper. It's a little heavier than like regular copy paper, and it's like a nice khaki or cream colored. This one was such a huge bird. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. If anybody knows what this bird is, comment down below. But I thought it was really nice at how it's like in its soaring position. It didn't have any greenery to this one. And since the tail feather, the tail feathers were like so huge, I went ahead and just wrapped that one around. I didn't ink this one yet. And I also noticed that in my haste, I put the text upside down, but that's okay. You can journal on that still. You can flip that over and journal on it. If you have that like as a flip out, like if you take that and do it as a flip up, this is right side, so it's not technically wrong. So you can still do it however you want to do it with that one, but I think that one's really pretty. And then this is the last one that is just that I have undecorated. This one I also did not ink yet. I'll decide what I want to do with that one, but I like the book page because you can do all sorts of things. You can't really journal on it per se unless you add like some little, you know, scrap paper. You know, you can add a little piece of scrap paper there if you want to like tear your edges and ink them and then glue that there and then, you know, write on that. Add stickers, however you want to do that. You can make it your own. But I thought that one's a really pretty bird. Don't know what the name of this one is either. But I tried to add like the branch that it was on and some of the greenery that it was hidden by. And it was under that greenery. So anyway, and then so I did do a little bit of decorating on two of them just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that you can do. I added an eye hole here and then like a fabric flower and one of my little charms that I make. with music paper. And then on the back, I added, this is the one that had the unsightly piece of writing on there. So I went ahead and covered that up. It's got a little stamping. Of course, you can add fabric back here. You can add paper to make yourself a pocket. You can, you know, side tucks, however you want to do this. And then this is the last one. I thought this one was really handsome. Thought that was, it's feminine, but also masculine at the same time. And so I went with darker colors on this one, so it could be either or. On the front, I added this nice dark chocolate fringe, and then on the back, I added a cream lace. And this one is also on the neutral copy paper. And so that's our project for today. I hope you guys really enjoy these because they're really, really beautiful. Hope you guys make them. If you do make them, leave me a comment below and let me know how yours turned out. And if you want to see more things like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I will try to get at least one video out per week. Sometimes my schedule is hectic. I can't, but I'll do the best that I can. So you guys leave me a comment, hit the notification bell to be notified for when I do put new videos, and let me know that you're here by subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!